to my channel. My name is Tracy and today's Casing the Catalogue. We are casing from the MINI Catalogue. The card that we are using today is from page 51, so let me bring it in and show you. It's this one down the bottom here. It is from the Petal to the Metal stamp set, and we're also using the Mountain Air bundle. It's a really great card. Let me bring it in and quickly show you. It's this one here. Let's get over to the craft table and we'll get started. Supplies needed for today's card are the Petal to the Metal stamp set in the MINI Catalogue. Also from the MINI Catalogue we have the Mountain Air bundle. Love both these sets. Really great for masculine. You can also do these ones for some really great feminine cards as well. It's not just masculine, but really great sets from the MINI Catalogue. We're using the Subtle Embossing folder, so really happy with that background there. Inks, we have Memento Tuxedo Black ink, Blueberry Bushel, Mossy Meadow and Soft Suede. We're also using some stamping blends for this card for the colouring of that motorbike. And we have the combo of Basic Black, Night of Navy and Smoky Slate. So really great colours there. Also using a sponge dauber for a little bit of sponging in the background. So we're going to start with the stamping first and then we're going to bring the big shot in. So I have all my kit here ready to go. Now there is a few things to the kit. You can find all the measurements and supplies over my blog. There is a link to that blog post in the description of this video. There's also a link to my online store if you would like to purchase any of the products for today's card or any products for a card that you would like to create. You can do so in my online store. Pop in the hostess code for the month. There is some really great rewards for shopping with me as well. So we have Seaside Spray as the card base, and I'm just going to fold and burnish on that score line. I've already pre-scored that line. The next piece is the matting, and we're going to emboss with the Subtle Embossing folder, that matting piece. We have a piece of Old Olive for our tree stamping. We have a piece of Soft Suede for our mountains. We have shimmery white cardstock for this gorgeous little background here with the dirt and mud. And then we have a piece of Whisper White for our sentiment as well as our motorbike. So let's get stamping. Firstly, I want to bring in the Memento Tuxedo Black ink and we're going to stamp that motorbike. This is going to be coloured in with stamping blends. Excellent. Going to bring in that sentiment stamp next with the Blueberry Bushel ink, and this is also going to be stamped on that Whisper White piece. So I'm just going to stamp that down the bottom here. Excellent. So that's a piece we can move away. Let's bring in the mountains, and we're going to stamp with the Soft Suede ink. Now this stamp set, Mountain Air, is a reversible stamp set, which what that means is on one side you're going to have details, so you're going to have a nice detailed image. On the opposite side, so if you turn the stamp over, it's going to be a solid image. So I'm using the detailed image for this one. And I'm also going to need just a piece of scrap paper to stamp off as well. So let's ink up this image. And I'm going to stamp off one layer. And then I'm going to stamp down on the next one. And then we're going to do this again, but I'm actually going to stamp off twice. So I want one really light one and one not quite so light. And that didn't stamp. See how I missed a little bit here? So let's do that again. Let's go this way. So 1, 2, and third generation inking is what I've done on this piece. So you can see it's quite a lot lighter than the first one. Now we're going to do our leaves or our trees next, and we're using Mossy Meadow ink. And I love this bundle actually has a few designs of leaves. So we have one where there's two together, and that's the reversible solid image. Then we have this one here, and this is the one we're going to use for today. So I have that all on my block. And we're going to need 7 of these, so let's ink up 7. And I'm going to be a bit of a stingy person and rotate these so I don't waste a lot of cardstock. There's nothing wrong with not wasting your supplies. 2, 4, 6, 7. Excellent. Now we do have a little bit more stamping with this down here, but I'm going to bring the Big Shot in first and we'll do all our die cutting. I'm going to open up my platform so I can run that embossing folder through. That wasn't lined up very well, was it? Let's try again. There we go. So we have a really good image with that subtle embossing folder. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to close up my Big Shot and we can start doing our die cutting. So we have mountains that we're going to do. Let me just bring it in. We have a mountain and then we have our tree die as well. So I'm going to fast forward through this because it's pretty, not very exciting work, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm going to work on this little background here, and to do that I'm going to just tear around all the edges here, so just creating a nice rough area. This is something that I used to do a lot of. It was very popular quite a few years back. I love the technique. Gives some really great texture. So just giving a rough bit of a tear around. I'll just take a little bit off the edge here. I think that's all right now. So I'm going to bring that soft suede ink back in and that sponge dauber. And I'm going to go around the edges with the sponge dauber to create that muddy look. And because we've torn it, it has lots of little fibres there, so picks up that colour well and just looks like rocks for me. And you can put as much on there or less if you want it. I like the look of being quite dark. And then I'm just going to come in really lightly and colour it in with the sponge jobber. Now I'm being really light touch. You don't want it to be too dark, but I don't want it to be white either. It's supposed to be a muddy look, even though the bike's nice and clean. Excellent. While we have that ink out, let's bring the tire track stamp in, and I'm just going to stamp along that piece. We've nearly got all our elements done. Let's colour in that motorbike. Like I said before, we have the combos Smoky Slate, Basic Black and Night of Navy, and I'm going to do the light Smoky Slate, and I'm just going to do all the piping area. Coming in with the dark Smoky Slate, we're going to just colour in, I don't know the areas of the bike to be honest, so that piece there, this one, that piece. I'm going to do the tyres in the dark Smoky Slate. And the stamping, the blends are really easy to use. It's just like colouring in with a texture. Let's move on to the Night of Navy. And I think I'm going to do the dark one. I'm just going to colour in for a little bit of shadow. Don't really even think you need the dark Night of Navy. You can get away with the light one. But we have nice shadows there now. And I'm going to go the light Basic Black. And let's just colour in a bit of the handlebars. And then the dark one I'm going to bring in and just creating, once again, a little bit of shadow. And I did miss a bit of the handlebar with the light Smoky Slate. Okay, all our colouring's done. I'm going to bring my paper snips in and we're just going to fussy cut that one really quickly. Now, one thing I didn't do with my sample is I didn't go around the edges just to get rid of that white piece with the basic black marker. So let me grab that. And I'm just going to go around the edges to get rid of that whiteness. You don't have to do it. We'll see which one looks better. I think that looks really good, taking away those white edges. I also want to cut out my little sentiment, and you can do that fussy cutting. I'm just going to bring in my little paper trimmer. These you could have got in the starter kit. Unfortunately, they're not available now, which is a real shame, because it's such a good little cutter. I'll just take off a little bit more on the edge there. It's nice and small now. Okay, all our pieces are ready to go to start popping all through. So we're going to work just on that subtle embossed piece, and I'm going to glue the mountains that are a little bit lighter, so the 3rd generation. I'm just going to glue that one straight down. And this one I'm going to pop up with some dimensionals because we're going to put our trees in behind them. All our trees are going to be popped up as well. So let me bring in some dimensionals for those. Lots of dimension on this card, but I think it really does need that extra pop up. Gives that great effect. And I might bring some minis in for that one. Now the trick is for this one is to pop the trees down first. And I can even chop off some of the tree. They all don't need to be the same height. So we're also staggering the lengths of the trees. I'm going to stick this one over the top, and then we're going to stick the last tree over the top here. So it sort of gives that different dimension there. Okay. This one's going to go over the top. There we go. And then we have this one that's going to sit over the top again. So I'm going to actually just glue some liquid glue at the top. I'm going to stick some full-size dimensionals on the bottom, because we have lots of different levels of pop-up here. Take these off, and then I'll stick some liquid glue down. Sentiment I'm going to stick up with another couple of dimensionals. Let's stick another one in the middle. It's not going to hurt. And then, yes, of course, we're going to pop up that motorbike as well. So I have dimensionals everywhere over my desk. I'm going to stick some minis on that one just for ease, in those little tiny spots. Because we don't have enough backings on my desk, the dimensional backings, I'm also going to pop up this whole card front. And because there's lots of dimension and lots of layers, I'm actually going to stick quite a few. You can please yourself if you don't want quite that many. I just find that the card stays together really well, especially if you're going to post it in the mail. If the more backings you have, the more dimensionals you have on it, it just gives that extra support. And that tone on tone pop up is really beautiful. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you left me a comment. If you haven't hit subscribe, please do that as well. And all the measurements and supplies can be found over my blog, so go and check that out as well. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.